Pause and Play AI with Elliott Danker and Daniel Kerson.
Hi, and welcome to Pause and Play AI with Elliott Danker and Daniel Kerson. It is going to be quite a heavy one today. Daniel Kerson, later on for Help Me AI, you're going to help us build robot assistants. Or have I taken that too far?
Just a chatbot today. No robots yet.
Yeah, well, close enough. But you know, actually, it's funny we keep bringing up this thing on chatbots because it really shows how AI has been around for the longest time, right? It's not a new thing. Chatbots is one early version of it. And right now people are thinking, hey, wait a minute, if I start my own home business, say I want to sell cookies, maybe I can have a bunch of chatbot assistants help me out online.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, the classic one has been online chatbots on your website to help customers answer their frequently asked questions. That's been around a long time, and it's becoming really, really popular now. You have internal chatbots, external chatbots. They're becoming really quite useful, and I think in this episode we're going to show something later, but we got to really discuss implications of them, what it does mean for staff, what it means for your company, and things like data security, how much are you going to share, but there are upsides or downsides.
Yeah, and this is kind of a favorite topic of yours because it sort of crosses into the realm of compliance and regulation, something we talked about in the previous episode. So I had a conversation about this as well about a week ago with a friend of mine from CyberArk, and I threw it to him. So what if one day, synthetic identities, don't you think that maybe they need to be registered like us normal human beings? We're registered, we've got a proper identity card. What about synthetic identities?
Yeah, we're not quite there in terms of the technology being so that these identities should have their own, as you say, ID registered somewhere. They are what we're going to look at today probably is still within the realms of a large language model, which we've been looking at, like Chat GPT. Into the future, for sure, when these agents, that's what they're called, agentic AI, when they start becoming autonomous and running the show in terms of certain tasks like creating reports for you and then populating calendars and scheduling interviews and possibly even running phone interviews.
Right.
That's when we have to start to think, okay, who's controlling? Do we need to keep tabs on them? Exactly. And that comes under the governance as well, because what are they doing? What are they saying? What are they complying with our regulations within our company? Are they going off topic? That sort of thing.
No, it's a good point that you bring up, right? And it's something that I'm quite curious about as well, in the sense that the conversation has been, okay, AI is going to take over jobs. Well, no, they're taking over jobs of people who don't get on board AI. But let's say we did that primitive mindset where AI takes over jobs. Does AI take over accountability? For example, you've got AI softwares that sort of siphon out based on keywords when they look at resumes. The hire comes in. How much does AI answer for a potential bad hire?
Well, that is definitely one of the worries of, again, I go back to the governance of everything, the compliance. Do we know why it chose that particular applicant or why it did not choose another? And we need to go inside these systems to find out, okay, it seems to be excluding this type of person. Why is that? There was something recently I saw where somebody was using one of these resume scanners or parsers, and it was actually excluding anybody over 40 years old.
Yeah.
So, why was that happening? Was that in a prompt? So obviously when we looked at prompts last week and the week before that, somewhere is written explicitly anything, a certain date, or over, or they work out the age over 40, exclude. unless it's a hallucination, unless somewhere along the line the AI decided to not employ people over 40. Don't know. But I've seen some weird things happening where you just think, where did it get that from? Because I didn't put that in my prompt.
So I like how you brought up the fact that it's based on prompts, right? And since you are an AI consultant, I wanted to ask your thoughts on the landscape of the world that we live in today, where it's so easy to sort of build assistants or build software, coding without really coding. Now, in the past, talking about this HR, you mentioned in the past, it would have been a coder having to hard code and get it right into this system to select people for a job. Today, it's about prompting. The importance of prompting, but can we fulfill prompting if we're not thinking of all the alternatives? Bringing us back to our second episode where we try to break AI. What are your thoughts?
Well, this is the steps, and you are having to. The short answer here is continually testing and observing your systems. There's no other way around it. You just like with the normal software lifecycle, implementation, testing, rollout, further testing. With AI, it's exactly the same. We all have this because it's so quick to implement. You can. Yeah. Even I can knock out something and you think, wow, okay, that's brilliant, it works. But you have to keep, and you can come back to it the next day. And another thing with that I want to show something later if I have time, but you can actually see what people are typing into your chatbot. So you can see, what sort of things they're writing and the answers it gives. And that is important because they might be asking things and the response is wrong. So
the AI doesn't understand the question.
And again, if it doesn't understand, it will hallucinate and give an answer that it thinks is right.
So this brings us back to lesson 1, where you talked about setting the AI up and sort of grounding the AI.
Yeah.
One example we gave was you're an English teacher to students between the ages of 7 and 10. And you ground the AI correctly with that first phrase. You've given it a job cycle before you add the additional prompts.
Yeah. But you will find that it will go outside. Somehow it will go outside your grounding prompts and it will do something that was unexpected. And then you have to go back into your initial prompt and fix that or add an extra step. So it's very important. So we're thinking constantly. It's a living, breathing system which you have to observe and keep a lookout for. And that is actually the hardest part. But that's the hardest part of any kind of software lifecycle: testing.
It's almost impossible to say that, hey, if I want to set up a business right now, a cookie baking business, and I have a nice website and I'm going to have a bunch of bots handle all my inquiries, I might not be able to do that myself because AI is not quite at that level. So it better serves me to hire someone to be able to set all of that up. But even then, what I'm getting from what you're describing is that you'll still need someone with some sense of expertise to keep monitoring the AI.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things where it's called human in the loop. So you have your workflow, which has automation most of the part of it, and then it comes to a point where a human has to acknowledge, approve of a particular output. But then you're thinking, what's the point of automating all this when you still need a human to, press go or press OK? So it's the fine line. How much can you automate? How much can the AI do on its own? So that is effectively one of the problems, and it's how now I'm kind of thinking the customer facing stuff is a bit risky. I kind of like doing internal business FAQs, for example, or workflow. So if there's an issue within the business, it stays in the business. It's no good having a customer-facing chatbot which is hallucinating and giving wrong information to customers. That can be devastating.
Yeah, yeah. Let's get to know our AI consultant, Daniel Kerson, a little bit. This was actually one of the first topics that you and I were going back and forth about. We couldn't quite figure out how to bring this topic to life because I've known you for a while and I know you sort of dabble with Lego brick hobby. You've even had a couple of pop-up stores to try and sell some of these products. Have you ever tried to put in a help bot, if I might call it that, to your business?
Well, I have, and so yeah, as Elliott mentioned, I've got this little side hustle. I sell little customized Lego minifigures and stages and instruments around the world. Very niche, very kind of, because I like 70s, 80s, 90s music.
Yeah.
So I just make these elements, stages, and things related to the music I like, and other people like it, and they buy it from my store. And on my store I have a chatbot, a FAQ chatbot. And it is, even though I say I don't want to do customer facing, this is customer facing. But obviously, I put in the guardrails, I put in the the proper prompts, so it doesn't go off track too much. But it has done, and I've had to observe it and see what people write into it. It's actually, there's one surprising thing that's come from having FAQ, which I've not seen written down in literature much, but I believe that for FAQs, especially chatbots, it highlights questions that probably you would never have known before. And what I mean by that is that if there's something a customer wants to know but can't be bothered to email, they're actually quite willing just to quickly type it in the box. And I've had a few questions based on my products that I've thought, oh yeah, that's a good question. I have no answer for that, which I should have an answer for that. So I being able to implement that onto my website and ultimately into the FAQ chatbot itself. So it just seems to me that people are willing to use chatbots and use it as a very casual. Example was how tall are minifigures? So with it's something like, well, isn't that obvious? Well, no, it isn't, is it? I mean, if
I got a really small shelf,
they're very small, but I know that, and I'm assuming everyone knows that. But some people just think, oh, this looks cool. What is it? Oh, it's a Lego. Well, how big are those little men then? And that is like, oh wow, okay. They would no one would. It seems to me no one would just email your sons. No one email me and say, oh no, how big are the No, they can't. They'll just ask a chatbot. So it's quite interesting. I think that goes into a bit of psychology actually, because I think we're willing to sort of ask so-called, I don't know, a stupid question, but not a stupid question. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when we're too afraid to ask because we think it's not, shouldn't that be obvious? But people were quite willing to ask a robot or an AI or a chatbot a stupid question or what they think is a stupid question.
The chatbot's not going to judge me, right?
Exactly.
It's the judgment that we're afraid of. So with this software, how did you embed it? And I'm only asking in very primitive tech language. I would think that if I could have someone answer my queries for me from my website, from my media consultancy, is there a way to sort of embed that into a website? Can that be done?
Yeah, well, there are a few software tools and things that you can do online that allow you, like a whole service provider, there are website builders, there are chatbot builders, and then you pay a subscription fee, for anything from hundreds of dollars. I think the cheapest one is at $20, quite primitive. Maybe you upload your own FAQ document, which is just the, where are you based? Do you have returns policy? How long does the delivery take, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have all the answers to those commonly asked questions. And then then it will give you a short piece of code, and you just copy that onto your browser. The behind the scenes, the code behind the website.
Okay. But not with what we've been talking about, OpenAI. That one is not quite at that stage yet, right?
No, with OpenAI and their custom GPTs, you cannot embed them into websites. So you have to go to their website, the chatgpt.com, to actually run them within their whole kind of domain.
Right, right. Okay. Well, since you've got experience in this, I think it's the perfect segue into Help Me AI, where Dan Kerson teaches us how. And all this, it is quite a complex subject. We must disclaimer that first. But we'll try and set up a chatbot and a software that you call Flowise. This is something that can be found online. And Daniel, you are looking at setting up a customer support agent. So, like you mentioned at the start, not quite front facing, totally handling more of the FAQ stuff.
Exactly. So I'm just gonna show you what we've been doing over the past few weeks is a custom GPT. So this will just give you the grounding of what sort of prompt to use, and also going into the knowledge base as well, which is very useful.
And welcome back. It is now time for Help Me AI, thinking about setting up your own customer service agent. How many service agents online have you spread out into the world, Daniel Kerson? Spies, maybe?
Many on different domains, different. I just helped someone this morning actually, which was. I'm surprised actually. With this kind of business, you actually get to learn about other domains, which is really fascinating. Today was music equipment this morning, so that was very useful, and how people are setting up music in hotels in Singapore, and what speakers they need, and what amplifiers and such. Very useful, very interesting. But this one is for my own little hobby business. This is my customer support agent for my website, Musical Brick. And we've seen this before. We've got the left side is my actual prompt. We have here, your name is Musical Brickbot. You are a support agent. Now, okay. Yeah.
I'm getting the impression just by looking at this interface, we are for real using OpenAI, and this is a custom GPT, right?
Yes, it is. Yes. We can, as I mentioned, we can't embed this onto a website, but it's good to actually do all your testing here. So it goes back to right at the original part of this conversation where, you'd want to have this and test it and keep asking it questions until you break it. Instead of having this on your live site and just copy this into another bot app and have it live, you might as well just use the Chat GPT, custom GPT, to really fully test the thing out to make sure that it answers correctly, doesn't hallucinate, etc. Right. So it's a good sort of foundation, I would say, for creating your chatbot.
So what's important here in terms of the prompts? Because at the start of our episode, we talked about the importance of prompts, importance of grounding. So we can already see the grounding of this customer service agent in the first line. But what were your priorities when you set in the prompts?
Well, the priority is look at the knowledge base and don't go anywhere else.
Okay.
Because as you know, with the LLMs, the Chat GPTs, they have a cutoff point. So they're trained on data up until February 2024, I think. It could be July 2024. So it doesn't have any knowledge past that date. So if you want knowledge up to date, you have to put your own knowledge base in. And that can be, as you can see here, I've got a Word document and a spreadsheet document as a knowledge base. So it will look at this for information. And I want it to look at my FAQ document. So this is, as I mentioned before, this is just a document that has, where are you based? We are based in Singapore. Okay, and then next question. How long does it take to deliver to USA? Oh, it normally takes 12 working days. So you've got all the questions and answers in this document. And
Populating that's a challenge, isn't it?
No, it's not.
All of it.
I want to give give you everyone here a nice little tip, which is get Chat GPT to create the FAQ for you.
So that conversation must have been, hey, Chat GPT, help me with this FAQ because I'm going to use it for my customer service support. Help me to help you.
Yes, isn't it? I mean, it's just like going back to the create a CV for me, and then at the agency they have another AI bot that parses the CV that was created by an AI. So who wrote that CV?
Okay.
Obviously it's not complete. You'll have to maybe change bits in there, but at least it gives you 20 odd questions or 30 questions or 40 questions or 50 questions and answers. And if it has got some of the answers wrong, you can obviously edit it. And then, but you've done 80% of it's done 80% of the work for you. What I've done also, not just an FAQ, I've got a price list as well. So it will now has all the products and the prices and details about each product, and that's as a spreadsheet. And then when our customers ask about things, do you have this band? Do you have that band? How much is this? How much is that? It will go to these documents for the answers. And it's actually it's not much to this. It's made this a bit bigger. If you're not sure about an artist or product, do politely say that we don't have.
So you still direct users to the contact form for other inquiries?
Yes. So I explicitly say, if you're not sure, then do ask them to go through the contact form. And then I've got the usual guardrails, reject requests for confidential information, stay alert, recognize if the conversation's being swerved to other things, You don't want me. Like last week, how do I skip school? That's nothing to do with what.
Would I be correct to say that? And again, this is sort of scaffolding as far as our lessons go, right? When building a custom GPT, with regard to whatever you use, or regardless of whatever you use, the guardrails are like two bookends. So the first one is defining the role, and at the other end of your prompt are all the safety requirements. Stay away from certain conversations, do not allow A, and do not allow B, do not allow C. And with these bookends, then the meat is in the middle, where all your FAQ documents and price lists is placed. Should I be thinking this way when I construct my
You should. Yes, you should. And actually, the stuff at the beginning and the end are, some say it remembers that more in terms of it's more in its sort of front. It's like when we read books or read a document, we remember the beginning, we remember the end, and then the middle bit, we've got it, but it's a bit hazy.
Yeah, that's what they told me when I was a top 50 bachelor. They said they usually remember the first 10 and the last 10, and I was number 8, so I suppose that's good. Oops. Okay, so you talked about this is also good for business research or customer service research. How has your customer support agent been broken before?
No, it hasn't. But I mean, people do say rude things in there, it's very polite. I mean, you tell it, just be polite, and you can swear and be horrible to this chatbot, but it will just say, if there's anything else you want to
know. So once we're at this stage, what is next? Now that we've put in the guardrails, we put in the meat, is it as good to go, more or less?
It's good to go. You've tested it. You've put in queries. You've tried to break it. Then you would copy this into another chatbot app. And I use one called Flowise, which you've mentioned earlier. Let me
So while you're doing that, while you're setting up the Flowise for us to see, and I'm taking a look at some of the threads that can be done in sort of a screenshot that you sent to me. Would you consider Flowise somewhat like a widget that I can use to embed into my website?
Yeah, it's got more. It's actually got more power than just being a chatbot, to be honest. It actually is more. It's actually got some agentic applications to it as well. You can get it to do other. Let's share this up here.
All right. So at this stage, once you've done with setting up your custom GPT, what's the next step? Daniel Kerson is going to show us with a program that's called Flowise. And why it's good for your website. And so I'm looking at it, and I've done some, and I've taught some courses on UI UX. I'm starting to see how everything links. Is it similar where one box links to the other? Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah, this seems to be, and I actually wrote a LinkedIn thing about how this all feels very nice to me, because I used to do back in the late 90s did Microsoft Access applications.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
And you were linking tables together with primary keys and foreign keys, and it had that kind of link. You can see here, you can drag the if you can see that there, can drag lines and join tables. Yeah. So it has a very nice visual, as you say, UI experience where you can drag tables around and move them, make them. Just feels very, very, very comfortable, and you can see exactly what's going on here once you get used to the interface and what each box is doing. Yeah, this is my main agent. This is like, and it has a little icon of a robot. In it, you have one box over here. This is my OpenAI. So this is what we call an API. So this allows me to use the large language model. I can choose different models here. So I'm using the latest one here, 4.0 mini. And that plugs into the agent. So the agent is now using this language model. You can actually hook up DeepSeek here. You can hook up Claude, other large language models. This one is a memory, because you have to actually tell it to remember stuff from the conversation previously, and you have to explicitly tell that in this app itself. Because
memories for Flowise. I don't need to incorporate memory for the custom GPT that we created earlier.
No, it's all in. It's all there, done for you. And then here is called a retriever tool. This part here is where you upload your documents, and that there's another step behind this to actually upload spreadsheets and Word documents, and actually scrape websites as well. But I don't really want to get too much into that. So this is your interface, and then just like Custom GPT, we can go here. Let's hello, I've got some here. Okay, let's start again here. Clear that. Okay, and we can chat to it.
So we're looking at it at work.
Yeah, this is a bit like the Custom GPT. So you can say, how long is delivery?
Right. So how long is delivery to via Singapore standard airmail? So it actually replies that this is delivery to South America and Italy, and so it's giving a whole bunch of options. Wouldn't and I don't mean to be rude here, but wouldn't it be better for it to be able to say, where do you want to deliver to before responding?
That's a good point. And so that would be so that would be a very how do I say it? That would probably, that's a good question. I think that would you see with your prompting, you don't want to be so explicit. If the user asks this, then reply that. It's actually a good point, actually, Elliot. I think you found a kind of maybe something that's a limitation. It knows lots, but is it intuitive enough to ask a question like that without being explicitly told? It's a very good. It's a good point.
I mean, there are two ways to look at it as well, right? I mean, one is the meticulous side of actually preempting conversation, or is it a situation where us as humans, we really aren't specific enough in the questions that we ask, and that's a psychology issue for sure. But maybe that's something. I mean, there could be a page before you go into this customer support agent. No, please be specific about your question, human.
And so, and we, so here, and then with this tool, it will give you the code to actually, as you can see here, you can do a pop-up full page. Everything's there. So you just copy that into your website.
Wow. So this is the one that I embed into my website, correct?
Yeah, this is, and then this will then pop up onto your website, and then people can click on it and ask questions.
Wow, that is brilliant, and hopefully you find it useful as well. It's just a bit of a 2-in-1 as far as Help Me AI goes every week. Just some closing thoughts, Daniel. When we do this, you put everything together nicely, have a good customer support agent. It's almost like having staff that you don't need to pay. And I know this isn't a conversation that's being brought up in the world, but you can't help but think at some point these AI guys or AI synthetic identities need to pay taxes.
Pause and play AI with Elliott Danker and Daniel Kerson.